Hello guys, so this is a really old and cheesy looking PowerPoint that we've used for ages, but I'm going to revamp it here and we'll still talk about it because it's really kind of cool to see the different types of food webs that you can have. So hopefully by now you know the difference between a food chain and a food web. A food chain is simply one line of who eats who and where the energy goes. So like one line would be, I don't know, like grass gets eaten by a grasshopper, which gets eaten by a bird, which gets eaten by a snake. Okay, so that's one chain. Now a food web is a little different. So let's go on. A food web is a diagram that shows how all the different food chains in a community are all linked together. So, you know, when I just said the grass could be the start of lots of different food chains, and that's how it fits into the web. And same with the grasshopper. The grasshopper could be eaten by 2 or 3 different animals in that same community, which would then link all of those food webs. So let's take a look at one. So this food chain right here shows what I was just talking about. So you've got your grass right here, and the grass gets eaten by the grasshopper, and then the grasshopper gets eaten by lots of different animals. So if you see, there's one arrow going over here to the owl, one going up to the hawk, and one going to the spider. So all 3 of those animals are part of that food web. But if you look, there's one chain, one possible chain here is from the grass to the grasshopper to the hawk. Well, another one is the grass to the grasshopper to the owl, and one is grass, grasshopper to spider, to blue jay, to cat. Okay, so because of all of those things, all those different chains get put together to make one large food web. And by the way, those things over on the left there, right, those are seeds, just in case you were wondering. It shows how energy and nutrients flow among the organisms in the different food chains in an ecosystem. So like we talked about last week in the energy pyramid whole class activity, the energy starts with the sun, goes to the producers, and then on up that food chain, energy pyramid. It's also kind of the food pyramid. It's kind of the food chains. So the higher up you get, the less energy that gets going up there. But those are all of the connections in a food web. So here's another more complex food web, starting with the Daphnia. So this is kind of a pond ecosystem. Daphnia are little like water bugs, very small water organisms. And you can see how complex it is. It goes over here, some come from right here to here, and then over there. You've got different directions that this one goes. Normally, when we make a food web, we start with the producers at the bottom, and then those producers go up, you know, to different animals here. Then you got your first level consumers that eat different things. Then you've got your second level consumers up here, okay? There you go. Everything has to eat something, so that's kind of how they usually are. This one that you're looking at now is a little different. This one kind of moves all over the place. Detailed food webs can have hundreds of thousands of species of animals. Others could have just as few as 5. So the very first one, each one of these food webs we've looked at is becoming more and more complex. Take a look at this last one. It'll blow your mind. Boom! Mind blown. So if you notice the words down here at the bottom, it says a simplified food web of the Northwest Atlantic. This is simplified. So each of these little each of these organisms, so like that's one, that's one, that's one. Each of those are different organisms, and look at all the connections. It goes from like different fish, all the different fish possibilities, all the different mammal possibilities like the whales and porpoises, all the way up to the birds. These are birds living up here in the sky. Those are all types of birds and such. But this is a small food web. This isn't even all of the organisms, but you can see how complex it is. Food webs can be easy. They can be hard. But if you have a certain amount of organisms, you need to show all possible connections between those if you can. So I'm going to ask you now to do that food web for the pond. Try to make the food web have different connections. Each organism should get eaten by different things or whatever. Make sure all your arrows are going the correct direction too, starting at the bottom and going up, just like on this one. All right, good luck.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.